Most Americans don't know this, but there are companies that have raised their dividend every single year for over 50 years straight. Not 10 years, not 25, 50 plus years. Through the dot-com crash, through 2008, through COVID, through inflation hitting a 40-year high. These companies kept writing checks to their investors every single quarter. Today I'm breaking down the top 5 dividend kings you need on your radar for 2026, especially with the volatility we're all feeling right now. Let me ask you something. You're working hard, putting money into your 401k, maybe a Roth IRA, maybe a brokerage account. And every time the market drops 10, 15, 20%, you feel it. Your portfolio bleeds. The news is screaming. And suddenly that long-term strategy feels a lot harder to stick to. Here's what most finance content won't tell you. Chasing growth stocks during volatile years is how regular people get wrecked. The wealthy aren't panicking. They've built income streams that don't depend on the market going up. That's the power of dividend kings. These aren't just any dividend stocks. A company earns the title of Dividend King only when it has raised its dividend every year for 50 consecutive years or more. That's a financial, operational, and leadership commitment that most businesses could never sustain. And in 2026, with interest rate uncertainty, S&P 500 drama, and economic noise coming from every direction, stability isn't boring. Stability is the strategy. Let me be straight with you. I'm not telling you these stocks are going to 10x your money. They won't. That's not the point. Think of dividend kings like the foundation of a house. You don't want your foundation to be exciting. You want it to be unshakable. When your growth stocks are bleeding, these stocks are still paying you. When inflation is quietly destroying your savings account, these stocks are raising your income. When the IRS takes its cut, qualified dividend income is often taxed at a lower rate than your regular paycheck. That's the play. And coming up, I'll show you one company on this list that has been raising dividends since before the moon landing, and why it still belongs in your 2026 portfolio. Number 5, Coca-Cola, ticker KO. Yeah, you've heard of it. But do you know Coca-Cola has raised its dividend every single year since 1963? That's over 60 consecutive years of increases. Warren Buffett holds more than $25 billion worth of KO through Berkshire Hathaway, and he's not selling. In 2026, Coca-Cola's global distribution, brand loyalty, and pricing power make it a fortress. People buy Coke when times are good. People still buy Coke when times are bad. That's the kind of business that funds your retirement. Current yield, hovering around 3%. Not flashy, but rock solid. Number 4, Procter Gamble, ticker PG. Every time someone in America does laundry, shaves, or changes a diaper, there's a good chance P&G just made money. Procter & Gamble has increased its dividend for over 67 consecutive years, one of the longest-running dividend kings on the planet. In a volatile year, consumer staples are your shock absorbers. People don't stop buying toothpaste in a recession. P&G also has serious pricing power. They've consistently passed inflation costs to consumers without losing significant volume. That's rare. That's valuable. The yield sits around 2.5%, but the consistency and dividend growth rate over time, that's where the real wealth quietly builds. Stay with me, because stocks 3 and 2 on this list are ones most people completely overlook. And the number 1 pick? It might actually surprise you. Number 3, Stanley Black & Decker, ticker SWK. This one flies under the radar. Stanley Black & Decker has raised its dividend for over 56 straight years. Not the sexiest brand name in finance, but when infrastructure spending is up and housing remains a long-term American trend, tools, industrial equipment, and security products stay in demand. Now, full transparency, SWK has had a rough couple of years. Margin compression, a lower stock price. But here's the thing about dividend kings. They don't cut the dividend just because times get tough. They find a way. And that dip in price? For a long-term income investor, that's actually an opportunity. Your yield goes up when the price goes down. This is a recovery play with a dividend moat. Keep it on your watch list. Number 2, Johnson & Johnson, ticker J&J, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, medical devices. Johnson & Johnson has been raising its dividend for over 61 consecutive years. Americans are aging. Healthcare spending in the U.S. is not going down. It never goes down. After spinning off its consumer division into Kenvue, J&J is now focused entirely on pharmaceuticals and medtech. higher margins, more defensible, and frankly more compelling for long-term growth. Yield sits around 3.2%. And with a AAA credit rating, one of only 2 companies in the entire S&P 500 to hold that distinction, this is about as safe as a publicly traded stock gets. The US government doesn't even have a AAA credit rating anymore. Johnson & Johnson does. And the number 1 dividend king for 2026, automatic data processing, ticker ADP. Here's the one most people sleep on. ADP processes payroll for over 1 million businesses across the globe. Think about that. Every time a company runs payroll, every 2 weeks like clockwork, ADP gets paid. It's not glamorous, but it is one of the most recurring, sticky, essential business services on earth. Companies don't switch payroll providers easily. The switching cost is enormous. That's a real economic moat. ADP has raised its dividend for nearly 50 consecutive years, with a consistent dividend growth rate that has beaten inflation over time. In 2026, as businesses navigate AI integration in HR, workforce changes, and compliance complexity, ADP is sitting right at the center of all of it. It grows with the economy and holds its ground in a downturn. Yield is lower, around 2%, but the total return story, dividend growth trajectory, and defensive positioning make this my number 1 dividend king pick for the year. So let's bring it all together. Your 2026 Dividend Kings watch list. Number 5, Coca-Cola, the brand that never quits. Number 4, Procter Gamble, the consumer staples fortress. Number 3, Stanley Black & Decker, the underdog recovery play. Number 2, Johnson & Johnson, healthcare with a AAA-rated shield. And number 1, ADP, the quiet paycheck king. The market in 2026 is going to be noisy. There will be dips, scary headlines, and people making emotional decisions with their money. Don't be that person. Build the foundation first. Get paid while you wait. Let compounding do the work over time. That's the move. If you want my free dividend research checklist, the exact criteria I use to evaluate income stocks before I put real money in, comment the word READY below right now. I read every comment personally. I'll drop the link straight to you. And if this video helped you think about income investing differently, hit subscribe. I put out real, no-fluff finance content every single week, built for people who actually want to build wealth, not just watch it happen to someone else. See you in the next one.